Bowers Game Corner presents Gen Con Video Bonanza 2014. Made possible by Billionaire Banshee, Guys, Games, and Beer, Dashing Inventor Games, creators of the Simple System role-playing game system, and Zonko, makers of Mobs, the t-shirts that turned life into an RPG.
Ahoy there, YouTube! We're back for our Gen Con Bonanza 2014, brought to our awesome sponsors, one of which is Simple System, and they have their new RPG strategy system up. You need to check it out. Right now, we are with Dyskami Publishing, and we're going to be checking out Worker Placement.
Yeah, Worker Placement, our newest game. We were successfully funded on Kickstarter, and it's going to be shipping to backers very shortly. But we managed to get some advanced copies here to give to backers who were at the show, as well as get some copies out on the table. So Worker Placement is a game, as you can tell by the name. It is a worker placement mechanics in the game, and it's literally about worker placement, where you're placing workers into jobs in order to get money for your temp agency, which is you're the CEO of one, and so you want to make sure you run it and get the most amount of money at the end of the game. So the game plays for 2 to 5 players, and it's a lighter game where you're going to be having your worker cards throughout the game that have certain skills. So, for example, Gunther here, as an out-of-work archaeologist, he has a technical skill and he has a life skill. So if he's looking for jobs, he might need to upgrade his skills. For example, if he wants to apply to become a board game designer, he's a little short on the skills. He has the extra life that he doesn't need here, but he's short 2 technical skills, which are the black ones, and a labor skill. So what Gunther's going to have to do, and this is where the worker placement comes in, as a temp agency, you're going to need to send Gunther out to get the skills. You might send him to the Hackers Club to get a tech skill, and you're going to have to send him perhaps to the trade school in order to get a labor skill, which is your yellow cube. That's one way to get skills in the game in order to upgrade your workers. The other way, of course, there are skill cards in the game that are part of a card drafting mechanic, that every round you get 3 cards, and what you do is you keep one for yourselves and you pass one to your opponent, and then you put one in the auction block here, which are going to be auctioned off at some point if people want to bid on those cards. But getting the cards allows you to keep your skills hidden from what other people don't know you have. So if you have Gunther in your hand with some skill cards, players may not know which cards you're going to be going for. And once you ended up surprising them and placing your character out, become a sidekick, for example, at that point you're going to end up getting some cash, 5 cash for your company, as well as thumbs, which is a reputation. So on the outside track of the board, you have your cash that you're tracking. You're also going to be tracking your reputation, and what reputation is, it determines your player order. So the higher your reputation, the better chance you have of going earlier in the game. And of course, when you're going for a job application, the people who got to the front of the line had the best chance of getting the higher paying jobs. So it's a really light game. It's a Euro style game, worker placement, and your job is to go out and get the different jobs for your people. Plays in about an hour, and it's a great gateway game. It's really good for introducing people who maybe aren't as strategic or don't play these games as often, or something that they want something a little more real world application as opposed to fantasy elves and dwarfs.
And how many players does it play? About the length of time?
Yeah, so it's about an hour, and it's 2 to 5 players. We have an expansion, Cash is King, which adds on a 6, 7, or 8 player expansion. So more players, and it comes with some extra cards in here that change up the game a little bit. Of course, gives you extra card because you have more players. And then also it has a few extra rules, as I mentioned. But this game is optional to add on to the core game, Cash is King. People that have larger gaming groups and maybe want to accommodate 8 players, because there's just not a lot of board games that have the ability, especially Euros, to accommodate up to 8 players in the game.
And where is a website you can send people to check all this stuff out?
Sure. So right now everything's on Dyskami.ca, which is DYSKAMI, Dyskami.ca, and we have information about the game. You can watch reviews, you can download the PDF of the rulebook, and you can place an order if you want.
All right. Thank you very much. And I must say, Worker Placement, I did an early review for the game. It is an absolutely outstanding, just incredibly great gateway worker placement game that you need to be checking out. But if you enjoyed this coverage of Gen Con and our Bonanza Explosion Blowout Loose thing, be sure to click on the subscribe button below.
Bowers Game Corner presents Gen Con Video Bonanza 2014. Made possible by Billionaire Banshee, Guys, Games, and Beer, Dashing Inventor Games, creators of the Simple System role-playing game system, and Zonko, makers of Mobs, the t-shirts that turned life into an RPG.